Live. Are we live? We're live, guys. We're off the mark. Excellent. Welcome back. So we are straight into our week 5 with our level 1 understanding and overcoming fitness barriers course that we've been working through the last few weeks. So like I sort of promised last week, we're going to be looking at different heart rate zones and the effect that sort of exercising at different levels and the way that that affects the body and sort of develops your body and different aspects of your fitness. And then we're going to be having a really good look at sort of different barriers to exercise, you know, some of the most common things that I've encountered in my time as a personal trainer, and stuff that, you know, clients have come to me and said, look, Rob, I'm trying to get exercise in, I'm trying to be more active, I'm trying to eat better, but this is getting in the way, you know, that's getting in the way, I'm struggling to stick at this for X, Y, Z. And, you know, there's sometimes some creative ways around them. There's sometimes ways to remove them entirely. And then there's some that you kind of might realize that you need to just sort of account for and think, okay, that's always going to be a barrier, but can I work around that, sort of knowing that that's going to be a barrier as well. So we'll get a good look at that this morning, guys. Of course, all the previous sessions that we've done the last 4 weeks, all those links I have been sending out sort of week on week, they'll still work, they'll still be available if you do want to go back and you do want to sort of revisit anything, or, you know, as we're picking up new bits of information, go back and, you know, sort of look at those old sessions with a little bit more sort of, little bit more information as well. So first of all, guys, as always, my email is in the description below the video on YouTube if you need it. If you're watching along live, by all means, just sort of jump into the chat, just stick something in the chat. Now, I've always kind of got one eye on the chat on my phone anyway, seeing what's going on. So yeah, my email is in there. Of course, as always, guys, we've got our workout vid. We've got our workbook for today's session, which is the same as last week. So it is the Planning Your Own Fitness Program workbook that we need for last week and this week's session. So we'll get a good look at that at the end as well, and just make sure we're working through the right one, and we get a good look at what exercises it is that we're going to be doing. Of course, the survey is in the description under the video as well. A little bit more on that towards the end, but the same as all the last sessions, guys. If you don't mind just filling in that survey, it's not even 30 seconds, and it gives us a lot of useful information. And of course, all the extra learner info is in the description as well. You know, learner handbook and any additional resources to do with sort of learning safely online, and what to do if you've got like a concern and stuff like that. So that's all in the description below the video. Of course, like I say, we're back for week 5. So let's get into it, guys. Okay. So when we're talking about heart rate zone, we're thinking about very, very similar to last week's session when we were talking about sort of even just taking your pulse, really. So you can actually measure your heart rate by using your 2 fingers to check your pulse in your wrist or your neck, like we talked about last week. And you could just count the beats in a minute. Set yourself a timer away on your phone. What I tend to do, I'll set the timer for 30 seconds, count, and then just double it so you know how many beats you've got in a minute. And then you've got your your heart rate, whether you're resting, whether you're sort of active, whether it's sort of like an active heart rate. So what we've got, guys, for every age individual really has got a different maximum heart rate. Yeah, so your maximum heart rate should ever be should only ever be up to 220 minus your age. So 220, if I was to take my age off, yeah, so I'll take 29 off, 20, so we're 191. Yeah, 191 my maximum heart rate would be. So 220 minus your age. Yeah. So then once you've got your maximum heart rate, and once you know what your maximum heart rate should be, you can actually start to work out these different heart rate zones, yeah, and developing different aspects of fitness. And what I'll actually do, guys, I'll explain that now as we're going through rather than coming back to it. So I'll just boot up the planning your own fitness program workbook. Bear with us, guys. Planning your own fitness program. Okay, guys. So this is the workbook that you're going to want for this week's sort of homework, coursework, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so close that down. So what we've got, guys, we did all of these last week, and we even did our resting heart rate. Yeah, remember we did the 2 fingers on your wrist, on your neck. Remember, stay away from the thumb, because the thumb tends to have its own. You might feel that your heartbeat in your thumb, and it'll throw your numbers off a little bit. It'll throw your counting off. Yeah, so just 2 fingers, and like I say, on your wrist, and we recorded what our resting heart rate was. So our resting heart rate, again, just refers to our heart rate when we're not exercising or particularly active. Yeah, which is kind of the lowest our heart rate should be, really. Okay, guys, cool. So we've got our heart rate zones. So I'll get the calculator ready, because maths is not Rob's strong point. Okay, so what we've got, so this is percentage of your maximum heart rate. Yeah, so somebody who's 60 is going to be at this level, but at a lower beat per minute. Yeah, because their maximum heart rate is lower. Yeah, someone who's 60, their maximum heart rate should be 160. So 90 to 100% is going to be sort of up around about the 160 sort of mark. That would be 100%. This one here, that's 50 to 60%, would be what, 80 beats per minute upwards, really. So this is how we do it, guys. This is how we do it. So maximum heart rate, as I sort of mentioned, decreases with age, limiting performance of aging athletes. Yeah, heart rate decreases with age simply because old hearts can't beat as fast as young hearts, guys. It puts extra strain on them. They're working harder, and kind of you would potentially suffer and have sort of adverse, like, negative effects from exercise, which is, of course, it's the opposite idea of exercise in the first place. If your exercise is making you feel worse and putting you at risk, it needs looking at. We need to change things around a little bit. Okay, guys, so the basic way to calculate your maximum heart rate: subtract your age from 220. Yeah, for example, if you're 45 years old, subtract 45 from 220 to get your maximum heart rate. So the maximum number of times your heart should beat a minute while you're exercising, guys. Yeah, so while you're active, whatever it is you're doing, you've been running, doing the housework, whatever it might be, playing a sport, this is the maximum that your heart rate should get up to. Yeah. So, for example, okay, so in this column here, we're going to do 220 minus our age. Yeah. So what did I work mine out was 191. Yeah. So we put 191 in all of these boxes, because that is what 100% of your maximum heart rate is. Yeah. And then all we do to figure out how to fit into these different heart rate zones is times it by these numbers here, which we're getting from here. Yeah. So to get 90% of something, we times it by 0.9. Yeah. So this is what we're talking about, guys, here, when we're looking at these percentages here. As I say, they're going to be different for everybody. So if our maximum heart rate is 191, and we want to fit into this bracket here, yeah, very, very light, because like we'll talk about in a second, we can notice here that these different zones, these different sort of thresholds, have different effects on the body. Yeah, so we're getting different effects on the body. We're going to develop our fitness differently depending on which of these zones we're working in. Yeah, So if you want to be at maximum fat loss and fat burning, you're better off at 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Yeah. So if you want to be in this range here, this is how we work it out. So you say, right, I want to be in this light range here. I want to be doing sort of 60 to 70% of my maximum heart rate. We can come down here and say that, okay, 60% of your maximum heart rate. So for me, it's 191 times 0.6, 114. Yeah. So for me, 114 to, if I work out what 70% was, 133. Yeah. So for me, 70% of my maximum heart rate is 133 beats per minute. So if I know my heartbeat is at 133 beats per minute or anywhere between these two numbers, I know that I'm in this bracket here, improving basic endurance and fat burning. Yeah. Okay, so then maybe at the end of the session, you finish up and you've got a little bit of energy left and you think, okay, I want to actually work on my aerobic fitness a little bit, you know, when we're talking about our heart and our lungs working and being efficient. And we decide that we want to move things up and come into this bracket a little bit. So we want to be 70 to 80%. So we're still talking 133 because that's the low end, 70%. So what's 80? Yeah, so 80, same again, 191 times 0.8 this time, yeah, for 80%. And that's 152. Yeah, so if I'm between 133 and 152 beats per minute, I know that I am in this bracket here, improving my aerobic fitness. Yeah. So for our different zones, we've got from 90 to 100%, pretty much develops our maximum performance and speed. Yeah. Because naturally, you can't maintain 100% output for very long. So you work in very short little bursts. And like I say, it's improving your maximum sort of threshold at the very top end of your performance, really. Very, very rare that we need to be working at that level, especially all the time. I can't think of anybody that trains 100% in this level here. Yeah. Okay, so the next one down, this sort of hard range here, it's increases maximum performance capacity. Yeah, then we've got 70 to 80% improves aerobic fitness, 60 to 70% improves basic endurance and fat burning, and 50 to 60% improves overall health and helps recovery. Yeah, so again, we don't need to be working at 100%. Even working as low as 50% is going to give us some benefits as well. And of course, 50% of 129 would be 191, sorry, times 0.5 is 95. So as soon as I get the 95 beats per minute, I'm in this range here. Yeah. And that is how we work it out, guys. So if you've got a particular goal that you've got in mind and you're thinking any of these in particular that you want to focus more on, or sort of just even be aware which of these zones you're in next time you get on the treadmill or go for a walk, or even if you walk the dog, or you might get back from the shops, it's interesting to see where you are. It's like, okay, how hard is my body working from doing X, Y, and Z? It can give you an idea where you are with your fitness. If you like mow the lawn and then come back and do your heart rate, and you realize that sort of your maximum heart rate's 191, and you come in and your heartbeat is 191, you'd be thinking, should my heart really be working that hard for doing a couple of sort of household jobs and stuff like that? And that as well, okay, I need to work on my fitness and develop that a little bit more, and I'll need to work on being in some of these higher brackets in order to develop that a little bit as well. So that is what we use those for, guys. And you might actually see these in a it looked more complicated in my opinion, but on some of the cardio machines you'll see at a gym, you might have a treadmill and it might say sort of what age, like different age brackets down one side, and then it might have your sort of percentages at the top, and it's sort of like the chart, and it tells you where your heart rate should be based on what your age is and stuff like that. But I find that looking at it this way helps it sink in a little bit more, helps it make sense a little bit more, and sort of helps us understand why that's important as well, rather than just being sort of like a bit of text on a machine that's, to be fair, usually loaded with information, especially a treadmill that's got this many programs on, and you can do this, that, and the other. And like I say, there's so many buttons on some of them. I just used to get on and press go. So it was a load easier. But yeah, like I say, now we've got a good understanding of why it's different for everybody and what our own limits might be and where our own thresholds might be, guys. So when you are doing this chart, of course, you're going to put your own heart rate in there. Yeah, your own maximum heart rate. And then from there, you'll work out your own 50%, 60, all the way up to the top. Yeah, so that is that will mean when we're talking about heart rate zones and stuff like that. So yeah, like I say, we've got a little bit more of a pretty news tab keeps opening up. Okay, guys, cool. Right. Was that the last of that while we're on? Okay, yeah, we looked at blood pressure last week, talked about blood pressure, and we did your BMI last week as well, or recommended that we do that sort of over the last week as well, just sort of cast your eye over it and have a look. Okay, guys, so back to the live chat, and let's dive back across to the PowerPoint as well and see what we've got. Next. Okay, guys. So just revisit this slide now. We've looked at the workbook. So of course, as we know, use 2 fingers to check the pulse of your wrist and see where you're at a resting point. Yeah, your maximum heart rate is 220 minus your age, like we looked at, and of course, now we've looked at how we can use this to actually work out different heart rate zones, develop and improve different aspects of our fitness as well. Yeah, so like I say, a lot of flexibility there, which is why, again, just sort of going into the gym, strapping yourself to the treadmill and like staying there however long doesn't necessarily get you where you want to be if you're not working at the right level, at the right zone. I remember speaking to one woman once on the treadmill who had sort of, obviously when I'm on the gym floor, I'm watching what other people are up to, not in a critical sense, but like, does anybody need any help? Does anybody look lost? Does anybody look like they're looking for somebody to ask a question to? That sort of thing. So I actually approached one woman that I'd seen just walking on the treadmill for like an hour. And I was just trying to do a little bit of like digging, find out what she was hoping to get out of her time. And I remember saying to her, like, why don't you come with me now and I'll show you like half an hour some stuff that we can do to get you where you want to be. And at the time she was like, oh no, I'm quite happy with what I'm doing, even though I feel like I'm not changing very much. And I literally pointed out that thing on the machine, on the treadmill, and said, well, just out of interest, if you've got anything particular in mind that you want to get out of being on the treadmill, you can like I say, use these different heart rate zones, and actually explain them to her. And then I noticed next time I saw her, she was doing like intervals and she was doing like little bursts and stuff like that. So again, like it's on the machines. It's just, understanding what it is and how to use it for yourself and what you specifically are trying to work towards. Is very different, because I think people think of like the treadmill, there's a right way and a wrong way to use it. Am I using it right or am I using it wrong? And like, yeah, like you can use it wrong if you're getting on and like running backwards on it, trying to army crawl along it. Yeah, that's using it wrong. But that's more like a health and safety thing than anything else. When it comes to meeting your own goals, though, there's no right and wrong that you can really ask anybody else based on their training, because what they're doing is probably based on their goals, just like what you're doing needs to be based on yours. So, if you're, for example, you might decide that you want to be doing some fat burning, but coming to the gym and work at 90 to 100%, where you can't actually maintain that for very long, so you burn yourself out really quickly and your body hasn't had time to burn as many calories, so actually coming down to a lower threshold allows our bodies to work for a little bit longer. I may give myself hiccups again. Allows our bodies to work a little bit longer and less that sort of fat burning effect really start to kick in. So yeah, just be aware, that the information on the machines is there for a reason, I guess. But yeah, like I say, I don't think it's very well explained on a lot of the cardio kit as well. So that's what we use those them heart rate zones for, guys. So yeah, like I say, let me know if you have ever seen them before, or come across them before and wondered, what's that? Maybe you figured it out, maybe you asked somebody and they showed you. Maybe it's always been a great mystery to you what it's trying to tell you. Okay, guys, let's spin on then. Let's spin on. So when it comes to our heart rate, of course, there's lots of different things that can affect it. Either speeding it up or potentially slowing it down. So we've got, of course, sleep. When we're asleep, our heart rate naturally lowers and comes down because our body's not working as hard. Our heart doesn't need to work as hard. The demand for oxygen in your muscles isn't as high because although those other muscles are still working, those involuntary muscles, our organs and brain and stuff like that is still working. Our bigger muscles like our quadriceps, our glutes, our abs, our shoulders, like our delts and stuff like that aren't working and demanding that oxygen. So of course your heart isn't working as hard. That heart rate stays a little bit lower, and potentially having a nap, you probably wake up and your heart rate's going to be lower than it was when you went to sleep. You'd have thought, just from your body's coming out of that state of rest, really. Of course, we've got drugs as well. To be honest, recreational and probably prescribed. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's certain medication out there that speeds our heart rate up a little bit. Certain medication that'll slow it down. Of course, recreational drugs is going to potentially usually speed it up. Just because there's more in your system, your body's got to process you like on that heightened sort of sense. Alcohol as well. Alcohol is going to affect our heart rate. Stress is a big one. Stress is it's what they call a silent killer. Stress. I was reading something the other day actually about the figures of people that experience some kind of stress related symptoms on like a daily basis or a weekly basis. I can't remember what the figure was now. I'll have to see if I can find it towards the end of the session. But yeah, stress is a massive one because it is, of course, it's not as easy to deal with as we'll try and get a little bit more sleep, or we need to cut back on the alcohol, or kick a drug habit or something like that. You know what I mean? Of course, stress tends to be a lot more complicated. It's going to be stuff that's embedded into your life. Obviously, it's going to be it could be to do with family, could be to do with the workplace, could be to do with COVID and lockdowns and stuff like that. I think stress is probably something that everybody's probably experienced in some way, shape, or form over the last year. And that feeling, it's like, when you are stressed about something or worried about something, and you feel your heart rate going and you feel your heart rate speed up a little bit. I've done some stuff. I remember getting up to do a speech at my sister's wedding. I was best man. And I remember getting up and it felt like, to do my speech, it felt like my chest, my heart was going to come out my chest. Like I could hear it. I could hear my heart pounding. And you know what? Not my favorite experience. And I was glad once it was out the way with. But it was kind of one of those things. I remember going into doing my first ever PT session. The night before going into the gym for the first time, and just worry, a little bit of anxiety, like I say, a little bit of stress. Can go even further. Might be financial, again. Money worries and stuff like that. So you know what, guys? There's plenty to stress about, and there's plenty in the world that'll could potentially leave us feeling stressed as well. So of course, stress is an absolutely massive thing. And of course, I would always recommend exercise as a good stress relief. But at the same time, if you feel as though you need to go speak to somebody, it is kind of one of those things where it's really easy to think to yourself, okay, everybody gets stressed, what's anybody going to do about that? It's just kind of the way of life as well. But it can get to the point where it's genuinely bad for your health and dangerous for your health as well, guys. So, stressful situations, stressful circumstances, unfortunately, kind of do need to be resolved and do need dealing with, before things get worse for yourself. So stress is a big one. Stress is a big one and one to watch out for. Because it's quite a hard topic for people to talk about as well. So, of course, when we're feeling that stress, I'm sure it's a position that we've all been in. You feel your heart rate pick up. Like I say, sometimes it feels like your heart's going to come out your chest, and it's just not a particularly nice feeling from time to time. Meditation, however, goes the other way and can actually help us lower our heart rate. And meditation can be a good way to deal with stress as well, actually. But of course, again, I'm no expert. Like I say, definitely take it that step further and speak to somebody if you feel like you're really suffering that much. But meditation, I found, particularly early on in lockdown, was really helping. Not just in terms of keeping me moving, but in terms of sort of calming the mind a little bit, and in turn, helping that heart rate come down. Thinking about, it helps. To me, it was more about helping clear my mind and all the stuff that I was worrying about, all COVID-related stuff, work-related stuff. Is like what's going to happen with my job, the gyms are shut and stuff like that. And I felt that, a bit of meditation and kind of through yoga as well, and building it into yoga really helped me sort of pick apart the things that I could control and the things that I couldn't control. And I just worked on trying to not stress about the stuff that I can't control. Control what you can, sort of change what you can change, accept what you can't to an extent, I guess, really. So yeah, I found meditation really, really helped with a little bit of sort of mental clarity. And like I say, when I was finding myself getting a little bit worked up about like I say, just the global pandemic, as a lot of people were, and feeling stuck at home and not able to really do anything for anybody. Like I say, you feel like that feeling in your chest, So again, meditation can be a really good way of sort of unwinding and relaxing. And then we've got being in love as well. Being in love actually affects our heart rate as well. When you've got that special somebody, when you're going to see them and looking forward to seeing them, it again, your heart rate will speed up a little bit of adrenaline, a little bit of excitement. I remember like the very first time I went to see my now missus, I met her online of all places, and arranged to go and see her and meet up for a first date. And I remember she was living like the other side of the time tunnel. She was, can't remember exactly where she was, actually, Silksworth, somewhere like that. Anyway, she was north of the Tyne Tunnel, and I had like a 45-minute drive all the way there from here. And the closer I got, like the more, again, I could feel my heart going, and I could feel like me heart pounding and stuff like that. And in that case, it was a little bit of nerves, a little bit of butterflies, and at the same time, a little bit of panic about, oh, I hope it goes well, like, all that sort of thing as well. So our relationship with other people, and particularly being in love, really can affect our heart rate as well. So there's a lot of things out there, that are going to potentially give our heart rate a little spike, or help us bring it down as well. So it's just a case of being aware of them, really. Right, guys. Okay, so we've got a little word search to do next. So I'll give it what we'll do, we'll spend 5-10 minutes on this slide. Of course, we've got the words down the left hand side that we're looking for, and what you're looking for, guys, is some of the most common barriers that I've come across over my sort of time in the industry, which is what stops people being able to exercise regularly and consistently enough to really hit their goals. So we may as well just have a little bit of a chat about these while you guys have a look through. So like I say, we'll have 5-10 minutes or so, and then I'll start working through and showing you where some of these are as well. So yeah, just pick out which ones you can, guys, and I'm going to be, like I say, working my way through and just talking about them as well. So of course, the first one we've got on the list is childcare. as well. Yeah. So we're thinking childcare. It might be you've got to get the kids from school. You've got to feed them. You've got to get them to extracurricular stuff. Dance, football, scouts, whatever it might be, gymnastics, whatever the kids are into. You want to get them out and about and get them to the park, get them some fresh air and stuff like that. Don't really have time to get myself down to the gym, which might take time to drive there as well. So childcare can be childcare is one of those barriers which is kind of always going to exist because of course you're always going to have kids, so it's a case of right, how do you work around them, how do you work around this what is now sort of presenting itself as a little bit of a barrier to you getting the exercise that you want and feel as though you need to. So with childcare, I found some interesting sort of, not solutions because there is no solution. It's a little bit of a workaround. And what I found was there was some gyms actually let you take your kids along, and we'll have a little area for you to leave them. Yeah. Some gyms work in partnership with a like a creche nearby where you might be able to drop the kids off again for half an hour, 45 minutes while you do a class or whatever it might be. And then I actually had one group, there was like 4 or 5 women who got to know each other in the gym and would talk quite a lot. And we had the idea of, okay, if there's like 4 or 5 of you and you're wanting to come to the gym a few nights a week, but you've all got kids that you've got to sort out after school, why don't you one night of the week, like on a Monday, one mom picks up all the kids, and the other moms or the other dads go to the gym or they go to the class, and then the next night a different parent takes a turn at getting the kids, and the others can all go to the class. So by the time the week's done, everybody's kind of missed a day and had their turn at picking the kids up, but everybody's also managed 3 or 4 gym sessions in 5 days. And that was a really interesting way of sort of working around it as well. So there are ways to factor it in, guys, because like I say, some of these are always going to they're always going to exist. It's just a case of learning how to best work around them. Okay, guys, then we've got clothes. So we're thinking about the right sort of clothing. Maybe you've decided that you want to start going walking, but it's coming around to winter time. And you've not got, you've not got the right clothing for getting out and about, and like winter jackets and stuff like that. Like clothing sometimes links in with cost because, of course, when we take up a new hobby or a new activity, we tend to have to go out and invest in some equipment or some kit. Like I say, to go to the gym, you might need a pair of trainers for yourself. Maybe it's all you've got, sort of flip-flops, slip-ons, all of that sort of thing. So yeah, maybe you need to go out and get yourself some trainers. Yeah, if you wanted to start walking outside and running, you probably would. If you're a woman, maybe you want to go and invest in a sports bra and stuff like that. So for a time, like swimming, you might need a swimming cozy. There's all these different areas of fitness that need you to have different appropriate clothing, really. So when it comes to clothes, there's normally a workaround in the sense that, can you make do with what you've got in a sense, as long as you're exercising safely, like I say, rather than like going out and investing like yourself in a big winter coat to go walking, maybe it's a t-shirt or 2, can you get a hoodie over the top? A hat and a scarf, maybe as if you've already got them, and then even maybe warm up before you leave the house, so when you even start walking, you're that little bit warmer. I might be thinking about finding a way that you can exercise in the house where you don't need that specialist clothing quite so much as well. So while you're working on, especially if it does link in with the cost side of things, if we're looking at cost, we're thinking about, okay, can you plan ahead a little bit and budget a little bit? If you're thinking, it was something that I've mentioned kind of all through lockdown, really. It was a good as time as any to be thinking about, okay, what do I actually want to do when things open up again? You know, am I gonna take up swimming? You know, can I start putting a couple of quid aside a week for a swimming cosy and to get paid for my first couple of sessions or for my first month's membership or whatever it might be? If you can plan ahead, you can have a bit more of an idea. There's other ways to sort of deal with cost and work around cost as well. Some gyms in particular will give you off-peak memberships, so you might be able to go sort of, maybe you can go down during the day, Monday to Friday, rather than needing to go on an evening and on a weekend. Like your gym membership might cost half the price because you're not going down at peak time, you're not going down on a weekend. So there are ways to save yourself a little bit of money as well. There's cost efficient sort of websites for supplements and stuff like that if you wanted to. Of course, depending on how far you wanted to go with that, if cost is an issue, you're better off paying for your exercise and getting some regular exercise than buying yourself a protein shake and having one every day, but you're now not doing any exercise at all and don't need the protein. So when it comes to cost, another one you might get a lot of not gyms, but a lot of sort of classes. A lot of classes will not only give you the first one for free, but they might offer you sort of like a loyalty card. So you pay for 5 classes, 10 classes, and you get one free as well. So there's like that sort of thing that you can think about, like loyalty cards. You might every 5th session you get a free session. Who's going to argue with that really? So there are ways around cost. Again, cost is kind of always going to potentially be there as a barrier. It's a case of thinking about like our budgeting and stuff like that as well. And it's a funny one, actually, cost. And this obviously doesn't apply to everybody. But you know what? Like a lot of the time, people, as fitness moves up their priority list, cost starts to go down because, do you know what? All of a sudden, like, cost being a problem seems to sort of dissipate and remove itself a little bit, because once your fitness becomes more of a priority, if you've got the choice between, okay, I can pay for a month's membership this month, or I can have one takeaway, which is going to cost me exactly the same, you're much more likely to pay for your gym membership. As alien as that might sound right now, when you're thinking, who's going to pick a gym membership over a takeaway? When we're really thinking about our fitness, it's funny because I had clients come in and do their first. When I first spoke to clients in the gym, they would say, "Oh, look, I can't afford personal training sessions and I can't afford classes." To then say, "Okay, I'll give you your first one for free. Yeah, so you don't have to pay anything anyway, and we'll demonstrate how different your training would be if you were training with somebody, or doing these classes, and just demonstrate the value of them a little bit." Okay, so then we did the free session, and it would become, okay, yeah, I'll move into, I want to do one PT session with you every month. I want to come back, do half an hour on the gym floor, and then I want you to check me weight. I want you to do all of this, that, and the other. To then, after a couple of months of that, they're getting more into their fitness, more into the fitness journey. And all of a sudden it becomes, right, okay, I want to do a PT session with you every week now, rather than every month. So the cost is quadrupled, really, every week instead of once a month. And I was saying, it was like, oh, that's interesting. Have you had a pay rise at work? Is there something that's changed your financial circumstances that we can do that now? And it was just a case of like, no, I've stopped buying junk. I've stopped going out every night and getting a couple of cans. I've stopped going out and sort of out for a meal and then on the high every weekend. So now, without really thinking about it, without really thinking I had any money that I could save, I'm saving myself like 200 quid a month or whatever it might be, so I can invest in myself. So cost, can be an issue, and probably will be an issue at some point for a lot of people, be it new kit that you like, or new trainers that you like, or again, those supplements that you've got your eye on. But everybody can only go so far with what they spend on their fitness. It's just a case of your priorities, I guess, and again, being smart with it and using some of those other workarounds as well that we talked about. Disabilities is of course a really big one, because it can limit Disabilities in general can limit what we can do and what we can do safely. And now, of course, workarounds are going to be kind of different, potentially specifically to the disability. But there are more and more classes popping up, and sort of groups that get together that do sort of chair-based exercise and stuff like that. If you've maybe got bad backs, bad knees, or you're maybe worried about doing too much, it's one of those classes where you can sort of rest when you need to rest. Like, I used to teach chair-based exercise in care homes. I used to go around different care homes, deliver these little short sessions with everybody all in their armchairs, and do you know what? They really enjoyed it. It was really accessible for them, because if they got a little bit tired and wanted to rest, they could. I'm not going to shout at them like, "Come on, Doris, like, keep going." I actually had people asleep in their chairs. They're just like, they did the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then they nodded off. I'm like, you know what? They've done 10, 15 minutes, which is better than not doing anything, guys. So, like I say, there are a lot of different ways that we can, there's a lot of different ways that we can work around numerous different disabilities. There's more sort of wheelchair accessible kit being made available in gyms and stuff like that. I've seen certain specialist bits of kit, that account for wheeling a wheelchair in, and then sort of, like the lap pull down machine. Normally you'd have to sit on the bench underneath that, but some of them you can just wheel a wheelchair straight in and, just do the pull downs from there or whatever it is. So there's different ways to sort of work around them. And, if you can move in any way, shape or form, there's ways to exercise and get some movement in and bring your heart rate up and get some calories in as well. So, we might not be able to do certain things, but that doesn't mean that we can't do anything, so again, there'll be a workaround. And if you've got one sort of specifically in mind, again, drop me an email. I'm always happy to help people try and work around these sorts of barriers. Maybe I'll say something this morning that you think, oh, do you know what, I hadn't thought of that. But at the same time, if it's something really specific and you're looking for something, Rob, I want to get fit, we're out of lockdown, I want to get moving, but I really don't know where to start or how to make it more accessible, give me a shout, and we'll get our heads together and we'll have a little bit of a think. Okay, guys, so moving down the list, we've got energy, which might link in with motivation as well. Yeah, so energy, it might just be you get in from work on a night and you're really tired. You're getting from work on a night, you're too tired to come back out and go to the gym. By the time you've got in, sat yourself down or whatever. So it's a case of, could you go, I've recommended to people before that used to train religiously sort of on an evening. I'm like, right, you're not going to like this idea, but try coming to the gym on a morning before work. And then when you'll be a little bit tired, but you'll actually wake up through your session. Then you'll go to work and you'll actually feel more awake because you've been to the gym and actually woke yourself up, rather than, maybe roll out of bed an hour before you're due to start, shower, brush your teeth, quick bit of toast on your way out the door, and then sort of drive through and you're still sort of half asleep when you get to work. So can we get our exercise in on a morning, wake up naturally through our exercise, and then when you do get in a night, you've not got to come back out. That's sort of planning for the fact that you're learning and that that you're going to be tired and you're not going to have the energy to do it, At the same time, can you maybe do that once or twice a week rather than every single day? And then can you train on a weekend where you maybe do have a little bit more energy if you're not working on a weekend, for example? Maybe you have a little bit more motivation to go on a weekend. So again, like if you're trying to get 3 or 4 gym sessions in, you can go twice on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And then you might think to yourself, okay, I'm going to try Rob's idea of going early on the morning, but rather than 5 days a week, you can pick 2 days in the week to do that. You might pick Monday, Tuesday at the start of the week when you're a little bit fresher, or at the back end of the week where it's like, yeah, I'm a little bit tired from these early mornings, but it's nearly the weekend sort of thing. So there's that way of working around energy. Sometimes as well, guys, if you find that you've not got enough energy when you're trying to exercise, you might not be eating enough, actually. You might not be having you might not be bringing enough calories in. So we might need to actually look at food and make sure that we're eating enough. Because if you're eating so little to the point where you haven't got the energy to exercise, you're actually doing yourself a disservice there, because you're not going to get the benefits of exercise. You're just going to drop weight, probably in an unhealthy fashion as well, because your deficit's going to be too much. You'll lose weight too fast, and you'll end up yo-yo weighting up and down, like yo-yo dieting. So yeah, a couple of different ways that we can think about like the energy problem, and sort of like a lack of energy getting in the way of fitness, and our regular exercise, and motivation as well. But motivation can link into a couple of the other ones as well. So we'll look at that one in just a minute. Then we've got equipment, of course. We've got equipment. Lack of gym equipment is probably a big one that I think people have probably experienced over the last 18 months. You know, maybe your local gym's been shut down, or you haven't been able to go to your classes, or whatever it might be. So yeah, it might be like a lack of equipment. You know, we can use our body weight as well. You know, there's a whole philosophy of training that's based around just using your own body weight. We've actually done a body weight, in fact, all of the sessions, bar one, all of the sessions bar one that we've got on the Media Savvy YouTube channel, all of those exercise videos that are there that we uploaded, every single one of them, bar one, is done with just body weight. You know, I think there was one where I got a couple of bits from around the house, like a couple of tins of soup to use as like a couple of like stand-in weights and stuff like that, overhead press, bicep curl, all of that sort of thing. But all of those are body weight exercises, guys, which is enough to stimulate muscle mass, like muscle growth and muscle development, and burn calories as well, guys. So a lot of the benefits that we get from training, we don't actually need any kit for. We just need to really know what we're doing and make sure that we're doing it safely and moving through sort of good movement patterns as well. But, you know, you can look for body weight exercises. And again, if you're not too sure, go to, like I say, our workout playlist on YouTube, and have a look through some of the exercises that I'm actually sort of demonstrating there as well, because, you know, they don't require any equipment at all. At the same time, guys, we do have some really sort of cheap, and not cheap, cheap sounds wrong, cost-effective and affordable pieces of kit. You know, resistance bands, as we talked about in a previous session, go a really, really long way in terms of being flexible. And for like a tenner, you can get a couple of different strengths of resistance band, which you can train the full body with. You know, you can activate every muscle in the body using resistance bands. Kettlebells, you know, probably a little bit more expensive, and you're not going to get that range, you know. But if you can get yourself a kettlebell that's maybe 10 kilograms or whatever, for 10, 20, 30 quid, you know, that's better than having no kit at all, potentially, depending on your goals and what it is that you're training for. You know, so again, there's some kit out there that we can actually get that doesn't cost a great deal. We don't need to be investing in treadmills for at home and thinking about our own multi-gym and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a resistance band or a medicine ball or something like that, you know, that we can actually do a lot of different things with, really. Okay, so equipment done. Thinking about family tends to link in, of course, with childcare, and sometimes commitments as well. You know, maybe you've got a family member that you care for, you know, other commitments, somebody that relies on you a certain day, a certain time, you know. Again, can we kind of factor this in and just say, okay, I know full well that training at this point or time is going to be really difficult. I'm not going to try and squeeze any exercise into that time or around that time. I'm going to box it off and make sure that I can meet my other commitments as well as possible, and then just make sure that I capitalize on other opportunities during the week where I can exercise, you know. So and like without obstruction as well, really, you know. So like I say, sometimes you just have to say, okay, that window in the week is boxed off. There's no exercise going to happen then. What other options have I got? You know, rather than trying to shoehorn like half an hour to exercise in somewhere where there's not really any anywhere for it to go, really, and just making yourself, giving yourself more to worry about, potentially adding stress as well, which is kind of the opposite of what we're going for with exercise. Like I say, we want to feel good and be happy and healthy rather than just constantly stressing about the fact that we need to exercise and can't exercise. Okay, guys. So injuries are a big one. Again, they can sometimes go as far as disabilities. Injuries in general, though, are kind of what I worked with a lot over my time in the gym, working with clients and stuff like that. People who, I've got a bad knee, I can't really exercise, I can't really hit my goals and stuff like that. I kind of made it my goal to work with people in that position and be able to find, exactly like we do now, like find workarounds for them. It's like, okay, if your knee hurts through that exercise, we'll go and find something else that works the same muscles, but doesn't put the same load onto your knee joint and hopefully won't give you any pain. And a little bit of trial and error of finding something that eventually we settle on something that doesn't cause any pain at all. And again, it just works around an injury. At the same time, I've had people who have bust their ankles playing football who still want to come in and use the gym and do some upper body stuff. And of course you can, there's nothing stopping you. If you've hurt your shoulder, you can still exercise other body parts. If you've hurt your legs, you can still come in and do your upper body sort of thing. So there's potentially something that you'll be able to do. Certain injuries, really, really bad injuries, it would be a case of, right, your body needs to rest. But of course, if things have gone that far, you're potentially going to be in hospital anyway, and you won't be able to exercise anyway. So, injuries, depending on severity and how bad the injury is, there tends to be a way to sort of accommodate and work around them. Sometimes as well, you need to be aware of how long the injury might last. It's a case of like, right, Rob, I can't do anything with my hamstring for a month. I'd guess, I'm thinking I'm probably going to need a month or so to rest my hamstring. One of the worst things I might do in that time would be really, really overdevelop the quadriceps, the front of the leg. While the back of the leg's recovering and I can't do anything, I don't want to make the front of the leg stronger because I'm going to get potentially a muscular imbalance as well. So if I can't work on my hamstrings, I might work on, my lower back instead, which is the next sort of link up from my hamstrings, really, if you think of it sort of like a chain. There tends to be a way around different injuries. It's just a case of how severe they are, how bad they are, and where they are. I guess depends on what the sort of alternative is going to be. Motivation is a strange one, guys. Motivation is nothing if not fleeting. At the end of the day, there's going to be days that you need to exercise and you're not going to be motivated to do it. There might be days where you feel really motivated and going and you'll do the exercise and you'll do what you're supposed to do. Happy days, It's the days that we don't feel motivated that are the problem, really, guys. And at first, the goal, really, the way I've always thought about it is really, we need to get to a point with our fitness and with our mindset where it's not about motivation. It's more about discipline. It's more about, okay, I don't want to go to the gym today, but I know I need to go to the gym today, so I'm still going to go to the gym today. Motivated or not, it's like, okay, Wednesday, I go to the gym and I do my cardio. Like, it'll get to the point, hopefully, where motivated or not, on a Wednesday, you just get into that routine of going and doing whatever it is that you've got to do, But while you're first getting into that routine and while you're trying to get to that point, look for patterns in your own mindset and your own thought processes and just through your week and find out those areas where you're less likely to be motivated. Like, if you know full well you're going to get to Friday tea time, finish work, and just think, right, it's the weekend, I can't be bothered with the gym, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. If that happens for like a week or two, like, my idea has always been like, just stop kidding yourself on that you're going to go on a Friday. Like, you realize through your own behaviors and your own patterns, It's like, right, three Fridays in a row now. It's got to the end of the week and I've just sacked the gym off. You need to move that Friday to a different day of the week where that mindset isn't going to creep in while you're working on developing that discipline and that just routine and getting it to, you're going to go on Friday whether you feel like it or not, because that is just what your routine is, which is kind of ultimately the goal. Like I say, look for sort of behaviors and patterns that you notice cropping up within yourself, because we're all different. We all make different excuses and find different excuses not to do stuff that we need to do, and justify it to ourselves differently. So just sort of be aware of stuff like that. Try and be mindful and engaged in, what's happening in like with that sort of stuff. As well, like when are you talking yourself out of doing your exercise? When are you finding yourself that you're not really motivated? Can you work around that and, stop trying to exercise in those pockets of time where, you're slowly realizing that, you're just not motivated to do it. Of course, motivation sometimes links in with your starting point. Yeah, where are you right now? What's driven you into the gym? What's led you to undergo this fitness journey right now? Why are you here now? For somebody who's coming in who, I've had people come into the gym who've said to me, look, I need to lose 5 stone to be able to have this operation, which, that's their starting point. They've got weight to lose, but their motivation is going to be pretty high because it's their health and their well-being and their life potentially that's at stake. You've got someone who's joining the gym who's just like, my starting point is, I don't know, I'd maybe like to burn a couple of pounds, or I don't know. They're not going to be particularly motivated, or they don't sound particularly motivated. It's not somebody I expect to be particularly motivated, especially at first, So again, someone's starting point, wherever they're starting from, what's their mental state right now, so thinking about where someone's actually jumping in and where they're starting can actually be a little bit of a barrier. It can sometimes, it can link with this one of sort of being overweight as well, or maybe when it comes to a starting point again, maybe it's just, you don't have to be overweight, guys, to not really have much confidence. Maybe you're just a little bit shy about going into the gym, or you're a little bit nervous about going into a new environment. Maybe you're conscious of thinking, like, again, starting point, I don't want to be the new guy that everybody's laughing at. I don't want to be that new lass who doesn't know the exercises and doesn't fit in with any of the groups, people who know each other, stuff like that. That's enough to get in the way. That's enough to have you talk yourself out of doing it. So again, our starting point is, it's important to be aware where our starting point is, and at the same time, just accept that, I guess, really, because everybody in the gym had their own starting point, and everybody that's there had a first time, and everybody probably felt like that, guys. I remember, like I say, I was absolutely bricking it that first day. I knew I needed to drive to the gym, walk onto the gym floor, and start approaching people on the gym floor and say, let me help you, essentially. I feel as though I've got some information and some ideas that might actually save you a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, but I also appreciate, as a new member, what that must be like, because I've been there as well, guys. 16-year-old, I was the skinny lad walking into the gym, and signing up for the gym, who kind of felt like I didn't belong there, or looked like I didn't belong there, because we all get swept up by the the regulars and the people who do look in good shape, and even the promotional images and stuff like that tends to be people who's in good shape, fitness models and stuff like that. And just don't let yourself be sort of swayed into this mindset of, oh, I don't belong here, this isn't a place for me, because everybody's got a place in the gym. Everybody's got a place. It might be different gyms, and you might need to find a gym that feels right for you, but everybody has the right to be there, and everybody has the right to exercise, just like everybody has the right to feel good and be healthy and happy as well. So try not to be overly conscious of your starting point, I guess. Time we've kind of mentioned, so especially when it comes to childcare and stuff like that, and the ways we can work around that. But again, other things, guys, like, do you know what, like, It might be time to, I don't have time to go to the gym on a night by the time I'm in. The nearest gym to me is 15 minutes away. All I really get time to myself on a night is 45 minutes. If I spend 15 minutes driving to the gym and 15 minutes driving back from the gym, I've only got 15 minutes to train at the gym, which is true, links in with travel a little bit as well, time of travel, I guess, is how that would link in. But again, when it comes to time, we're thinking about, okay, so that half an hour, you've got 45 minutes and you're losing half an hour to traveling. Why don't you just not travel anywhere and exercise at home, or go outside just straight from the front door, go for a walk? Granted, it might not be perfectly in line with your goals, if you're trying to build muscle and you would prefer to get to the gym. But if you're not going to get to the gym anyway, what have you got to lose for just doing a little bit of exercise at home? It can be a really good starting point to help you build up and get you used to doing a little bit of something. You might come in and, like I say, you might say, right, I've got 45 minutes. If I'm not driving to the gym and there and back, I've actually got 40 minutes to do a good workout. Guys, you can get a good workout in 20 minutes, never mind 40. So again, thinking about how long you're actually spending exercising. And sometimes another one that I get is people like feeling like they need to leave the gym early because they've run out of time. I've got to get back to the kids. The kids need tea. I haven't finished that. I haven't done my last exercise, but I've got to go. I'm like, some people I've heard say that are also the sort of people that spend 5-10 minutes on their phone after every single set. They just start scrolling, they're sat in the gym, they're scrolling, they're texting somebody to then like run out of time. Keep your rest time nice and short, guys, and you can get the exercise done and dusted in, like I say, half an hour easily. 10 minutes is better than nothing, so we shouldn't really be running out of time entirely to be able to do a little bit of something. But yeah, time is one of the big ones that I've come across. Again, sometimes it's priorities. I had one client who was meant to be doing sessions by himself in between sessions with me, because he didn't do every session with me, and he came in for a session with me, and I said, "Oh, how did your session yesterday go when you came down?" And he was like, "I didn't come down yesterday. I didn't have time. I didn't have time to get down yesterday to get me workout in." So I'm like, okay, then fair dues. 10-15 minutes later, I've snuck it into conversation. I can't remember what it was. It was something like Game of Thrones. I said, "Oh, did you see Game of Thrones last night?" "Oh yeah, I saw Game of Thrones. Wasn't it good?" I'm like, "Well, that's an hour. That's an hour's long program that you could have been doing your exercise. If you're training in the house, do your exercise with Game of Thrones on." Do you know what I mean? But it was, and that was one of them where he sat back and he went, yeah, and it was like the penny dropped. It was again, it's priorities, guys. We've all got the same 24 hours in the day. It's just a case of what we choose to spend them doing, and what is highest on the priority list. Because, like most of the time, the majority of the time, we're gonna find and make time for stuff that's a priority. And it's the stuff that's not really a priority that we're like, "Oh, I ran out of time to do that." Most of the time, do you know what I mean? The stuff that's a higher priority is going to get done first. It's hard to run out of time for stuff that's really high priority. Once you start to consider some of these different options as well, so like I say, there's ways to work around it. Travel in itself can be a difficult one sometimes, because maybe you want to go swimming, but it's a bus, it's 2 buses away. It's cost of bus fare as well. So we're thinking about cost again, cost linking in with travel, petrol, parking. I've got to get to such and such, and it's going to cost us X amount to stay there for however long, and it's not really realistic. Again, thinking about time. Oh, if I'm traveling, it eats into my time to actually be exercising. And again, can we do stuff at home? Can we leave the front door and just do a little bit of exercise? Can you go for a walk, or maybe just like even a little jog if you're feeling adventurous? But getting out and doing anything is better than sitting 15 minutes in the car to the gym, 15 minutes back from the gym, and just feeling like you haven't got time to do anything when you're there. you're better off going outside and actually just doing a little bit of something, do something from the doorstep, I guess. Uninterested is a little bit of a strange one because it kind of links in with starting point and motivation. If you're uninterested, you're probably not really motivated by anything, and that's always curious because to me, like one of the first questions I would ask people when they would come in the gym to sign up, I would say to them, okay, like why now? Why are you joining the gym now? Why are you here talking to me now rather than 6 weeks ago or in 6 weeks' time? Yeah, why are you here now? And if they're not interested in being there, it's always interesting to hear what the answer is because they're not interested in being there, but they are there. And sometimes it's because their mates drag them down, or because their parents drag them down, or because one of the kids has dragged them down. They're just not interested in being there. And I find that probably quite straightforwardly the best way to work around this is to try and find a way to get invested, get interested, get stand and start to understand and begin to learn the benefit of being there, I guess, really, because if you're there, guys, and you're just going through the motions, you're not getting the most out of your time. And that was kind of one of the biggest things for me as a PT, because I know 99% of us see the gym as a little bit of a chore, and fitness is a little bit of a chore, and we do it because we want the rest of our lives to be easier and to be fitter, and for our body to last longer, and stand up against the test of time a little bit as well. So there are so many benefits to exercising that we can potentially have. It's a case of find something that does interest you. And do you know what, guys? Like at the end of the day, like I fully acknowledge that the gym isn't for everybody, and of course that's probably where I have my most experience, because that's where I've worked for 6 or 7 years. But at the end of the day, guys, the gym just isn't for everybody. So, maybe don't try and force it. Can you just go swimming? Is there a walking group you can join? A cycling club? Anything like that. I've even done like a little bit of bouldering, like rock climbing. Really, really good exercise as well. It's a little bit different, and do you know what, guys? It's really, really interesting and engaging as well. Because your mind's active. You're thinking about where your handholds are, and you're thinking about not falling most of the time. Not that it hurts you either in a harness or you're not up high enough to fall. But you're concentrating as well. So I find that quite mentally stimulating as well. Because what doesn't work the first time, if you fall off or lose your grip, it's not a case of, oh, I'm not good enough to do this. You can think, okay, I'll try something different this time. So it's almost like a problem solving aspect to it as well. So I really enjoy that. I'm quite looking forward to getting back to a little bit of that actually. Now that the local climbing walls opened up again. But do you know what, guys? There's so much out there related to fitness that you probably wouldn't even consider. Even some of the stuff that we do, where we media savvy, and we pair up with Sunderland People First, and we get together on Roker City Front, and we go for a walk. We play some games on the beach. We do some exercise while we're down there, and it doesn't feel like exercise because it's social, it's fun, it's interactive. Like I say, the gym's just not for everybody. And there's no harm in acknowledging that. If you're there and you're uninterested and you're not really sure why you're there and you're not enjoying it and not getting much out of it, look for something else, guys. Like I say, I used to get slapped on the wrist in the gym because, like, when somebody would walk in and tell me either about a disability that made me think, okay, you'd be better off going and doing this instead, or even just a personal preference, and they made it perfectly clear that the gym wasn't for them, but their missus was giving them a hard time and they needed to get a little bit more active, I would say to them, like, go and look into this a little bit. Go and try that before you commit to a year's worth of a gym membership. you know, because you might get more out of swimming, you might get more out of cycling or walking, rambling, hiking, whatever. You know, sometimes, guys, when you're just uninterested, it's for a reason. And you know, there's other ways to be active, you know. And then the last one that we've got on the list there, guys, before we spin on, I'll point out the answer for wherever these are, as many as I can. So we've got work. The last one that we had is work on that list. So work, you know, depending on your own circumstances, maybe you're not working right now, maybe it's just part-time, maybe you're self-employed, maybe you're full-time, and each of those presents different ways to, you know, work around them and accommodate for them. You know, if you're part-time, can you try and exercise on your days off? You know, if you're working, can you try and exercise before or after work? You know, depending on how many times a week you sort of need to exercise and are trying to exercise as well. So a couple of different ways we can work or deal with and sort of work around work as a barrier. But again, it tends to depend on your circumstances, really. Some people, you know, do shift work. So, you know, one week they can get to play football and then the next week that they can't. Or, you know, maybe depending on shifts. I've actually had some guys come to us and say, well, you know, if I'm on this shift, the only time that I'm off is through the night when the gym's actually shut. I can't actually get in, you know. So sometimes you might need to look for a 24-hour gym that you can go to. Maybe when you finish, if you're not finishing until 10, 11 o'clock at night, you might need that 24-hour availability, you know, or again, exercising at home, taking yourself off outside at certain times of day. There are ways around it. Again, can you do 10, 15, 20-minute short little sessions rather than needing to find an hour and a half each time, you know? And again, maybe save yourself a little bit of time there as well. But of course, work tends to link in with time quite a lot as well, and usually energy. You know, if you come home from the end of a day's work and you're knackered, you know, you've got no energy. It's harder to get out to the gym as well. And you know, maybe you've been busy all day and you're not really feeling even particularly social, and you don't want to see everybody at the gym. You know, can you exercise at home? That sort of thing, guys. You know. So there we have it, guys. Some of the most common, or definitely the most common barriers to exercise that I've come across over over my time working in the gym and with countless sort of individuals and one-on-one clients. Right, guys. So if you've been working this out and trying to find them, you've probably got them all by now. But let's see if I can whip through them quick. So we've got can I draw anything? What does this do? Nothing. Okay, guys. So from here, reading backwards is childcare. Yeah, childcare. Clothes. If you are watching along in the chat and you know where it is, please do shout up. And we'll get through these a little bit quicker. So clothes. Where was clothes? There we go. Clothes. CLOTHES. So a sneaky one going upwards and backwards there. Yeah, upwards and backwards. Okay, next one we've got commitments. Right, let's see. Commitments here going upwards. Commitments. Yeah, so commitments was there. Over towards the right hand side, coming upwards. Cost. I feel like I've seen costs. There it is. Yeah, so many times this morning. Costs is there. Disability. There we go. Disability. Second column from the right, starting at the top. Disability. Energy. Here. Right towards the top and over towards the left. Energy. Equipment. Equipment. Where are we? There we go. Starting from this E. Down and left. Equipment. Cool. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Family. Here we go. Reading upwards. Family. Getting over towards the right hand side. Reading upwards. Injury. Let's have a look. Injury shouldn't be too hard to find. There's not many I's and there's not many J's, I don't think. Must just be the hardest one to find now. Where are we? Where are we? Anybody wants to put me out my misery, by all means do. There we go. Injury. This eye, injury, up and right. Motivation, this M here, up and right. Motivation again, all the way to that top row, the M. Overweight, overweight. But I think as well, like certain people think that they're too heavy to exercise or not fit enough to exercise. Which is of course it couldn't be further from the truth. Like I say, everybody has their own starting point. And there's always something you can do. Like I say, even getting on the arm bike and doing some arm bike stuff gets you burning. Okay, guys, so we've got overweight from the very left hand column coming acrossways. Starting point is the bottom row coming backwards. Starting point to this T in the corner. Time. Where's time? Here it is, going backwards. T-I-M-E. Time. 3 to go. 3 to go. Travel dice. There we go. This one here. This T. Down and right. Travel. Uninterested. Again, that's a big old word that shouldn't be too hard to find, but I jinxed myself with injury, didn't I? So let's have a look. Let's have a look. There it is. Uninterested. So this U up and left. Uninterested. To that D in the top left. And then work. The last one is work. There we go. Down and left from this W here. Down and left. Work. There we go, guys. Cool. Spot on. So, talking about these barriers to exercise. So we all know that exercise is good for us, of course, and we know we should try and raise our heart rate a few times a week. There are many things that get in our way. Some are newer and affecting our ability to exercise in ways we've never experienced. Of course, COVID just being the most recent example that I can think of. So what can we do to overcome some of these obstacles that we may face? And of course, we've talked about some of these already this morning, but just in case we didn't, and in case we missed any out, of course, when you think about exercising at home or somewhere where you actually feel confident and less conscious, oh, sorry, that sneeze came out of nowhere. So yeah, you know, if it's more the fact that we're conscious of other people and we're worried about other people's opinions and stuff like that, and we, you know, a little bit of just not really wanting to put yourself out there, can you, like I say, exercise at home? Can you go somewhere where you feel a little bit more confident? Like a couple of the gyms that I've worked in have had like a separate area for like body weight exercises and stuff like that, you know, where you might go and do your sit-ups and stuff like that. Or the most recent gym that I was in had like a separate section for like all the boxing bags and pads and stuff like that. So if I had someone who was a little bit more sort of self-conscious, I used to just take them in there or send them in there to do all of their sessions. You know, you're off the main gym floor, you're not where everybody can see you. And you can just start to build up a little bit of confidence in what you're doing with just a little bit of privacy as well, especially if you're doing certain exercises and you think, oh, I'm going to look daft while I'm doing that, you know, take yourself off and do them somewhere a little bit quieter. Or even think about what time of the day you're going to the gym. You know, if you've got that flexibility in you, you know, you've got that luxury. You know, if you're finding yourself, if you're going down at tea time every night and you're finding it's busy and you're a bit conscious, go, and you can go at like 12 in the afternoon, do it. You know, go 12 in the afternoon while it's quiet. Why not? And like I say, just make use of a little bit more privacy. You can of course train with a partner as well, which can help with travel, because you know one of you can drive one day, one of you can drive the next, and you split the cost. It can help with motivation, because even if you're not motivated, if you've got a partner that you're training with, they're gonna drag you to the gym anyway. We used to have it quite a lot. I used to train with one lad, and it used to work 2 shifts. And one week we would do a morning shift, which would mean starting at 6. So I would be up at 4:30. We would work 6 till 2. I'd drive home from Sunderland till 3. I'd get home about 3 o'clock, I would say. I'd get home at 3 and know that I had to go to the gym. And there would be some nights that I would be like, oh, I just can't be bothered. And my mate would text us like, oh, I'm on my way over for you, like for the gym. So I went. And then there'd be other nights where it'd be the other way around and he couldn't be bothered. And I'd say like, oh, see you in half an hour for the gym. He'd be like, oh, all right then. And we would end up going. So training with a partner can help you feel just a little bit more sort of confident as well, in the sense that you know somebody, and make you a little bit less conscious and like you're sort of there by yourself. And at the same time, can help keep you motivated and on track as well. And that can include like even with your food as well, maybe it's even days that you aren't training together, again, I've had like trained couples over the years where like they could train together for 2 weeks, and then on the third week, somebody was on a dodgy shift and they would have to train separately. But if you know that your mate's going by himself, you're not going to not go on your own, because you don't want to get left behind. Next time you're training together, if you haven't been going to the gym and your mate has, they could be sort of leagues ahead, and it's going to show, So I would always, like I say, training with somebody always helped keep me motivated on the times that I wasn't particularly feeling it. And like I say, it can bring a lot of benefit, not just that extra motivation, a little bit of sort of belief in you as well. Of course, we've got plenty of free resources online as well, that don't cost anything, don't need any kit. I've mentioned, of course, the YouTube videos that Media Savvy have got up. There's free yoga channels and other free workouts, and plenty of free resources online. I mentioned before that me and my missus have started doing yoga through lockdown. We just go on YouTube and watch the same person every single time. Doesn't cost anything. At the same time, I do the old subscribe and like to actually support the creator that's putting that like that sort of stuff out there as well, so they can continue to do it and make it available for free. But there is so much out there, guys. You can go to somewhere like bodybuilding.com and tell them what your goals are and tell you what your weight is right now or whatever, and they can point out, okay, like here's 5 different workout programs we might recommend for you to try. So there's so much out there, guys. There's got plenty of different free resources. Like I say, try setting yourself some targets and have rewards as well. Like give yourself a little reward system. And of course, guys, got to point out, I always seem to need to point it out. Your rewards and your treats, and they don't always have to be snacks and junk food. You can make it right, okay, when I get to this weight that I want to get to, or hit this, I can run a mile in this time, I'm going to treat myself to something. Why not? It doesn't have to be every time, but why not sometimes make it something that's actually going to help you get to your next goals even faster? And treat yourself to some new running trainers, or treat yourself to some new lifting gloves, or a new drinks bottle, or a new supplement, or whatever it is. It doesn't all have to be takeaways and chocolate and all and booze and stuff like that. As much as I know that those things do work well as rewards and incentives. Something that I brought up with one of the last clients I worked with, actually. She was having a real problem with, she'd hit a goal and then she'd reward herself and it would undo all the work that she'd just put in. And I sat her down and I was talking to her, and I was saying like, why is it that all of your rewards and everything that you use to say well done for yourself is food related, and usually chocolate, and something that's could potentially lead to you sort of 2 steps forward and 1 step back with your progress. And you know what? She hadn't even thought about it until I mentioned it. And she said, you know what? It was because as a kid, when I was growing up, anything that I did well was rewarded with a bar of chocolate or sweets or something like that back when they were harder to get hold of, you know, a little bit more expensive, not as accessible to everybody, not as much chocolate in them, not as much sugar in all the sweets and stuff that you can get hold of, and stuff like that as well. So um yeah, it was only when it was sort of mentioned that she thought, right, okay, I'm gonna start treating myself to um like I say, some like go get your nails done, or go get yourself like a new haircut like you've always fancied, or you know, treat yourself to tickets to a gig or whatever, you know, reward yourself with something that isn't going to take you a step back over in the journey that you're trying to reward yourself for being on. Um, you know, so a little bit of food for thought there. Then, of course, we've got what we call NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's essentially activity that we're doing that's not exercise, yeah, which is walking. You know, it's doing jobs around the house, dusting, doing the grass, hoovering, doing the dishes, all of that sort of stuff. It's all it's all energy expended. It's all energy output, which eats into the amount of calories that are coming in, and that's going to determine whether you lose weight or gain weight. Yeah. So people always get really hung up on the 1 hour a day or however long it is that they would be exercising, when really the other 23 hours of the day make up the picture so much more. You know, you could very, very easily do enough in those 23 hours to cancel out the gym session that you've done. Of course you can. You just eat a load of junk and sit on your backside. You'd be better off being active throughout the day, moving, doing a lot of this neat sort of non-exercise activity. You'd be better off doing that than doing an hour of activity, hardcore gym work every day, and then sitting on your backside the rest of the time. You would, because it would add up throughout the day. So it's these little things, you know, it's little things like when you go on the bus, can you get off a stop early and walk the rest of the way? Can you take the stairs instead of the lift? When you drive to the shops, can you park at the back of the car park and walk to the entrance rather than parking straight outside? You know, little things like that, guys, you know, where we get a little bit more movement in, especially, you know, at the end of the time where a lot of us have been a lot more idle, a lot more sedentary, and not moved around as much, you know, like I say, through COVID pandemic and through the last 18 months. Which of course brings us to the last one, which is one that I'm sure all of us have done at some point through lockdown and over the last year and a half. And that's, do you know what? Even just get out for a walk and get some fresh air is exercise, guys. You'd be surprised how many calories you can burn through an hour or two of walking. And it doesn't have to be an hour or two. Like I say, 10, 15 minutes is better than nothing. Go around the block and just think, okay, this is my start point. This is where I'm at right now. I'm going to build this up and go a little bit further. You can use Fitbits, fitness watches, apps on your phone like Map My Walk to tell you how far you've gone, how long it's taken you, and you can gradually try and go a little bit further or try and go a little bit faster, guys. But just getting in the habit of going out for a walk and getting some fresh air is really good habit to be in. It's a good way to get some exercise as well. Because you know, it's hopefully something that is not going to be too like, oh, it's so strenuous, I can't be bothered to do it, like going to the gym, you know. So like going out for just a nice casual walk, get some fresh air and sort of stretch your legs off a little bit, is a totally different feeling to going and doing an insanity class, you know what I mean? So it doesn't all have to be that end of the spectrum, really hard and really, really intensive work, guys. So again, just something for you to think about there. Okay, what time have we got? Right, guys. Just saying the time actually. So that'll actually do us for this morning, and that was everything that we needed to go through. Of course, we've already had a look at the workbook. So for this week, we're doing pages 5 to 10. So that might be a couple of pages that we didn't do last week, and one or two new that we're sort of bringing in this week. So pages 5 to 10. But of course, we should have all the pages up to 10 filled in now. Yeah, or by the time we've done this and for next session. So next week we'll be back, obviously at the same time. We'll be back Wednesday, 10 a.m. And we'll be starting your healthy lifestyle posters. So what we're going to do, guys, you're going to pick a topic individually to anything to do with health and fitness. anything at all to do with health and fitness, nutrition, a sport that you like, a health condition that you're familiar with, meal prep, whatever it might be, anything to do with a healthy lifestyle. You're going to pick a topic, hopefully something that's sort of quite close to your heart, and you're quite passionate about, and you're going to start putting together a healthy lifestyle poster on that topic. Just to let us know maybe the benefits of it, and we can actually have a look at some different examples as well before you actually do your own. So next week we're going to be starting to think about them, but like I say, over this next week, have a little bit of a think about what topics you might want to choose, what interests you, what do you think as though you might fancy putting together a presentation on. And again, of course, if you're not sure, ask me, just drop me an email, let me know what you're thinking, and I'll sort of give you a little bit of feedback from there as well. But honestly, guys, anything to do with health and sort of health and fitness, that healthy lifestyle, like I say, is totally fine. We're just thinking about putting it together in a poster. What we'll then do, we'll arrange a one-to-one Zoom call, and you can deliver that poster to me. So you're not delivering it to the class, you're not delivering it to everybody. It'll just be one-on-one to me. You're just explaining your poster pretty much. It doesn't have to be a big fancy presentation. Talk me through your poster, and then, like I say, that'll be done. Like I say, you don't need to share it with anybody other than myself either as well, So one of the beauties of distance learning for the time being, until we are sort of confident in going face-to-face again, and everybody else is happy to go face-to-face again. Okay, guys, so yeah, we will, of course, as always, we'll be back next Wednesday at 10 a.m. And we'll be starting to look at these healthy lifestyle posters. Please don't forget to do the survey as well, guys, for today's session, like all the previous sessions. It gives us some important information that we need to do paperwork on this end, on your behalf. And at the same time, your feedback's always important to us, guys. We like to know your thoughts and your feedback for sure. So yeah, that survey is not even 30 seconds. If you're still not sure what you're doing with them, go to the description below the video on YouTube. Click where it says survey. Just click that link. That takes you straight to a survey. Put your answers onto the survey, and then when you close it down, the answers automatically come back to us. So you don't need to worry about downloading anything, filling it in, saving it, sending it back, all of that jazz. Go on, follow the link, put your answers on, shut it down. You don't need to think about it anymore, guys. Like I say, not even 30 seconds, and that is massively appreciated, guys. Thank you in advance. Okay, guys, so we'll be back next week to do it all again, keep the ball rolling. If you need me in the meantime, as always, drop me an email. I'm just an email away. And of course, don't forget to check out today's fitness video as well. It is I've put together a legs and bum session where some of them are going to be working your heart a little bit harder than others. So I want you to just think about those different heart rate burning zones, and which you might be in at each sort of stage through the session as well. So let me know how you get on with that, as always. And if you're not feeling legs and bum today, let's have a think. Or you might want to do abs or something like that. You might want to do abs and go on and find the ab workout. Click that video; it'll take you straight to the playlist and all the videos that we've got there as well, so you can have a look through. Maybe find something that does stand out to you today that you think, right, I'm gonna give that one a go, and I'm gonna give it my best, sort of thing. Yeah, guys, so good luck with the workout video. You know where I'm at if you need me in the meantime. Just drop me an email. Don't forget to do the survey, of course, as always. And that will do us, guys. We'll wrap it up there. So stay safe. Look after yourself and everybody around you, of course. Have a good week. Have a good weekend when we get there. And I will, of course, catch everybody next Wednesday, if not before. Take care, guys. Thanks for logging in this morning. I'll catch you next week.